The training facility on Kepler 442b hummed with the nervous energy of 200 cadets, all aliens, all watching the human with a mixture of fascination and horror. Commander Zexthar, a towering Krathany with forearms and scales that shimmered like obsidian, stood at the center of the simulation chamber, his voice booming through the translators. "Cadet Harris!" he roared, his mandibles clicking with agitation. "The void reaches are a death sentence. Your atmospheric suit will fail in 30 minutes. The gravitational anomalies will tear your ship apart. The radiation alone—" He paused, searching for words severe enough. "Will cook your DNA into soup."
"You'll die out there!"
Lieutenant Sarah Harris looked up from her equipment check, her weathered face splitting into a grin that made several cadets take an involuntary step backward. There was something unsettling about human smiles, they'd learned, something predatory. "Good," she said, her voice calm as still water. "I'm ready." The chamber fell silent. Even the ever-present hum of the station's life support seemed to pause. Commander Zexthar's tertiary eyes narrowed, a sign of deep confusion among his species. "You misunderstand," he said slowly, as if speaking to a child. "This is not a simulation. This is a rescue mission. 3 ships are stranded in the reaches. 27 souls. All species represented in the Galactic Council. The probability of success is 0.03%. "So you're saying there's a chance?" Sarah replied, pulling her helmet on with a satisfying click. This was why the other species didn't understand humans. They couldn't. The Krathany were logical, patient-building civilizations that lasted eons. The Velkari were emotional but calculating, never risking more than they could afford to lose. The Thurian were warriors, yes, but even they understood the difference between bravery and suicide. Humans, though. Humans were different. Sarah had grown up on stories. Stories of firefighters running into burning buildings, of pilots flying through hurricanes to save stranded sailors, of doctors working in plague zones, of engineers staying behind in reactor rooms, of soldiers throwing themselves on grenades. Her species had a saying, "Someone's got to do it." Usually that someone was human. "Cadet Harris," Zexthar tried one last time, his voice softer now, almost pleading. "In my 300 years of service, I have never seen anyone survive the void reaches." The ancients themselves declared it forbidden space. "Why would you go?" Sarah paused at the airlock, turning back to face the assembly. Her eyes, that peculiar human brown that seemed to contain depths the other species couldn't fathom, swept across the crowd. "Because 27 people are counting on someone to try," she said simply. "Because I've read the report, studied the patterns, and I think I can make it. But mostly," she tapped her chest right over her heart, "because I'm human. We don't leave people behind." She sealed the airlock behind her. The control room erupted in chaos. Zexthar barked orders, pulling up every sensor, every scanner, every piece of monitoring equipment they had. If this insane human was going to throw her life away, he'd at least document it for the archives as a cautionary tale. Sarah's ship, a modified scout-class vessel she'd named Indomitable, launched from the bay with a roar of fusion engines. The alien observers watched in grim silence as the tiny craft accelerated toward the swirling nightmare of the void reaches. The region lived up to its reputation immediately. Gravitational waves bent space itself into pretzels. Radiation storms lit up the sensors like fireworks. Sarah's vitals, displayed on the command screen, showed her heart rate climbing but steady. Too steady. Any other species would be flooding their system with stress hormones by now. "She's singing," one of the monitoring techs reported, confusion evident in his translated voice. Indeed, through the comm channel, Sarah's voice drifted back, slightly off-key but cheerful. "Come on, Eileen. Oh, I swear what he means." "What is this vocalization?" Zexthar demanded. "Some kind of prayer to their gods?" "Negative, Commander." The cultural liaison, a Velkari named Shen, replied. "According to the database, it's entertainment music. From Earth, approximately 300 years old." They watched in stunned silence as Sarah navigated through impossible corridors of space-time, her ship dancing between gravitational riptides that should have crushed it flat. When the first anomaly reached out to grab her, she fired her engines at full burn, using the gravitational slingshot to accelerate deeper into the reaches. She was using the death trap as a highway. 23 minutes in, she found the first stranded ship. The Wanderer's Prayer, a Krathany vessel, drifted helplessly in the eye of a radiation storm. Sarah's suit was already showing yellow warnings about exposure levels. Wanderer's prayer, this is indomitable. Hang tight, I'm coming to you. Human, the response came, disbelieving. You shouldn't be here. Save yourself. Our shields are holding. We can survive. 6 hours, Sarah interrupted, reading their power levels. You've got 6 hours before those shields fail. Then you've got what, maybe 30 seconds? She locked her docking clamps onto their hull. Start transferring to my cargo bay. You've got 4 minutes. But your ship is too small. I didn't ask for your opinion. Move. There was something in her voice, some quality that transcended species. It was the voice of someone who had decided to survive, and who expected everyone around her to make the same choice. The Krathny crew moved. In the control room, Zexthar watched his chronometer. Sarah's suit had 20 minutes of life support remaining. She'd found one ship. 2 more remained somewhere in that swirling hell. She'll never make it, someone whispered. Zexthar said nothing, but his eyes never left the screen. Sarah found the second ship 11 minutes later. Her suit screaming warnings, radiation burns forming on her skin beneath the failing protective layers. The Stellar Compass, a Velkari merchant vessel. She didn't bother with pleasantries this time, just docked hard and opened her cargo bay. Get in now. The third ship, a Thurian military scout, was breaking apart when she reached it. Her suit had 6 minutes of oxygen left. The Thurian captain protested, demanded she save his crew first and leave him behind. Sarah punched him in his primary breathing orifice and dragged his unconscious body into her ship herself. 3 minutes to live. The Indomitable, designed for a crew of 3, now carried 27 souls in a space meant for cargo. Sarah sealed the bay, pumped in atmosphere, and set a course back through the nightmare she'd just navigated. This is Harris to Kepler Station, she transmitted, her voice rough from radiation exposure. I've got your people. Coming home. She pulled off her helmet, the readings having finally hit 0. Her face was blistered, her eyes bloodshot, her hair starting to fall out from the radiation. She looked like death itself. She was still smiling. In the control room, 200 aliens watched in silence as the impossible happened. The human ship emerged from the void reaches battered but intact, carrying a full load of survivors. When Sarah finally stumbled out of the airlock 7 hours later, radiation sick and barely conscious, Commander Zexthar was waiting. He studied her for a long moment, this strange, fragile creature that had just rewritten everything he thought he knew about possibility. Why, he asked simply. Sarah, being loaded onto a medical stretcher, managed a weak laugh. Someone had to try, she said. Might as well be me. As they carried her to medical, Zexthar turned to his assembled staff. I want a full analysis of her flight path. Every maneuver. Every decision. If one human can do this, and he paused, a new respect entering his voice. Perhaps we've been thinking about the void reaches all wrong. Behind him, on the recovered flight recorder, Sarah's voice continued singing her ancient Earth song, slightly off-key, impossibly cheerful as she'd flown through certain death. Turalura, Turalurai I. 3 months later, the Galactic Council officially changed the name of the region. The void reaches were no more. They called it the Harris Run now. And the crazy thing? 7 other humans had already applied for the route.